guys know the non-tech guys that are always having a struggle when it comes to this technical stuff, right? The guys who are used to, they play with it like, Pastor, thank you so much to give me the opportunity to speak here this morning. And I'm trusting God that the message we're going to pass this morning is going to be impactful. And I want to thank God as well, for my wife, who's been very supportive of me for 23 years in marriage. It's an incredible journey for those of you who are, experiencing what I'm experiencing. Because, they say the man who finds a woman finds a good thing. And, I have been so blessed with her. I want to appreciate Pastor Lola, Pastor Gabriel, Pastor Dami, and my pastor for letting us speak this morning. We're coming from the great state of Maryland, and my greatest wish this morning is that the message that we share, can go a long way to change some of the things that you've been doing. So I'm originally born and raised in the Cameroon, so came to the United States about 21 years ago after graduating from a law school. I wanted to go to the law school, as you guys know, and I came here. Going to the law school wasn't a piece of cake. And a sister who had been here said, why don't you go do nursing and have that certification as a backup? That way, if law school doesn't go well, you can always have that backup. You guys know how it is. Coming from Cameroon, nursing was an inferior profession, you know what I mean? And it was mostly for women. Yeah. It had nothing to do with men. That message did not resonate well with me, right? It took 3 months for that fight, but I ended up doing the nursing to satisfy her. I was so aggressive at school, get it done in 2.5 years. I said, this is the degree, I'm done. But then when I applied for law school, I realized it wasn't cheap, right? And I'd already accumulated some school loans, about $46,000, trying to get out of nursing. Long story short, guys, I ended up spending over a decade in nursing. But for over that decade, 9 of those years became very meaningful to me because I went to a department in nursing called hospice, palliative care, end of life. End of life. It changed me as a person completely. Completely. Pastor Joyce were asking the question here, are you ready? And I want you to imagine that I spent 9 years talking to people that medically they've been certified that they have 6 months or less to live. Wow. And I want you to think about what that thought process is. If the man upstairs, if they say that is you, what is going through your thought process right now? And that's what I spent 9 years doing, talking to this individual, asking questions. They say if you ask the right questions, you're going to end up with the right answers. Yeah. If they say you have 6 months to live, what exactly will be going through your thought process? Are you ready? These people were full of regrets, folks, full of regrets. The regrets were not the regrets of dying, it was the regret of the things that they didn't do when they had breath in their lungs. Time is not running by, your life is running by. Yes. Just so you know, your life is running by. True. And we don't want you to be part of statistics. The people in the medical industry know what I'm talking about. The statistics are, unbelievable. But sometimes we're granted the wisdom to do the things that we ought to do. And some of us don't act on it. So my message this morning is simple. It's about financial education. At the end of the day, finances has a huge role to play in our lives. During that period that I spent with these people, I used to be an ER nurse. This hospice is super slow, it's patient, ER is frequent flyer, they come and go. But these people, you can spend 2 hours with a patient. And so we talk faith, family, finances, everything. We talk everything. And some of them cannot afford a $2,500 mortgage. At the same time, some of them will retire, move to the senior citizen community called assisted living, independent living. In Washington, D.C. area where I live, $14,900 a month. A month, and they call it retirement home. And, the neighbor cannot afford for $2,500 for a mortgage. What a disparity. And all of them have worked. Over a course of 9 years interviewing these people, there were very few things that I can tell you tonight. One, you need to have a retirement by design or by default. If you had a choice, what kind of retirement would you want to have? By design. Who is designing one for you right now? Right? The other thing that I hear over and over is, boy, if you think you're going to work for someone and get wealthy, think again. And I want you to fast forward. Think about it. How many wealthy retirees do you know that have worked for someone and they're wealthy? And they can create the kind of impact that the real money people can create. Because I keep asking this question, I realized I was the wrong side of the financial track. I'm an African man. I work hard, extremely hard. That's how we were raised, to work hard. And I work so hard. And, you know, just to backtrack a little bit, when my father passed on, I was a young man, about 10 years. And it was extremely difficult to go to school. We worked so hard on the farm to make me go to school. And 3/4 of the time I was kicked out of school because I couldn't afford for tuition. They don't even kick you. You guys know how it is. They flog you before they kick you out. And so sometimes the fear of the cane is too bad that before you show up, they say, do you have the money? They say, no, they make a U-turn. They say, Bonnie, where you going? I'm checking something outside. I'm going home. I cannot afford. When we became blessed, I told my wife there are children out there that is exactly like me that we can go, sponsor. I said, we need to go sponsor as many. Some child somewhere is going to have a daddy and a granddaddy because we're blessed to be here. But I'm working as a nurse guy, it didn't happen. We struggled over the years, it didn't happen. So you remember, I joined Compassionate International, right? Trying to sponsor these little children in the Congo. I wanted to, but it wasn't enough. And thank God, as I asked these questions and I talked to these wealthy people and talked to the people that are struggling financially, I realized there was something that has to be done. Folks, eventually, what separates most people is financial education. It's not the amount of work, it's what you do with the money that makes the difference. Have you ever fast-forward interviewed your life? That's what I did over 9 years. I'm talking about hundreds, if not thousands of patients. And so I started realizing that how many people know this information these people know. Eventually, I transitioned from healthcare to wealth care. So I teach financial education across the board. I'm licensed in my local state of Maryland and 43 different states in the United States to teach financial education. So everything that I tell you there is from a licensed perspective. I teach, and I teach, and I teach. We're a full-fledged financial firm. Everything from creating that financial foundation or to, all the way to mutual fund stocks and everything we do. But I want you to understand that today it's all about basic education. To start, from the credibility standpoint, what company, the company that made this possible that we're having this conversation with you guys, is the company on the top left-hand side, the white building written Aegon. And I know you guys in the Google generation, you can Google all you want. A-E-G-O-N. It's important you know what kind of credibility. A as in apple, E elephant, G gold, O-N. Aegon.com. Aegon has been in business over 120 years, over 180 years. And they have operations in 20 different countries in the world. They only came to the United States about 25 years ago. But what they did though, they were looking for a company that was doing the same line of business like they were, which is asset management, pensions, and insurance. And they narrowed it to a company called Transamerica, which the headquarters is up here in the Bay Area, San Francisco, right in the heart of San Francisco. Bought that company. So if you check out Transamerica, it will say an Aegon company. But Transamerica on its own has been in business for over, a century. Transamerica was founded after a massive earthquake in California in 1906. They took Transamerica. Now, what they brought to the marketplace that was unique is their mission, no family left behind. Wow. Listen to me again. Their mission was no family left behind. Why? Financial institution, giant financial institution, JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch, all these institutions are looking for people that are making $250,000 or more to talk to them about finances. What about us? What about us making $50,000 a year, $100,000? Who talks to us about money? And then we work so hard, we end up on the wrong side of the financial track. Aegon said we will reach out and provide that education for free and make people to make right choices. And certain things that I'm going to say here, I don't want it to offend you. I want you to get it as information that, can help you make a difference. Make sense? And because they say goes that people with traditional education are all going to work for people with financial education. And most people have no idea what that is. And that message, I'm bringing it to you this morning. And then the top right-hand side building, you know, that's the platform that allows an ordinary nurse like me to come in, learn financial concepts, and share. It's a platform. They don't carry any product. And we're part of a team on that platform called Pinnacle Elite that you get to know later. So what exactly do we do? I want to make sure that this thing is working. If it doesn't work, I do manually. So what exactly do we do? On the left-hand side of my screen is a full menu of the services that we do. So you might have a company that you want to create a retirement plan like 401k for. We can set it up. Or you quit, they fire you, or you terminate you. Your 401k become an IRA, an individual retirement account. We could do a rollover and hedge that money from market volatility, meaning that market should crash, you shouldn't lose a penny from that. We teach people how to buy life insurance. We teach people about life insurance. Why? I'm a hospice nurse. It's not one, it's not two, it's not 100. There are thousands of people that have insurance policy that they thought they have a life insurance policy. At the end of life, they realize it's not life insurance policy. It's either you were supposed to die by accident for it to pay, and you're dying in bed with cancer, which means it's not going to pay for 20 years. So even when I meet somebody who have an insurance policy, I want to do a policy review to teach them, to understand what they buy. Do you have enough? If you have yet insurance, do you have enough? What is enough? Do you have the old type or the right or the new type? Not only that, we teach individuals how to incorporate life insurance as a financial tool. We show them where life insurance plays in their finances. We teach long-term care. They say 1 adult out of 4, 70 years or above, might need some form of long-term care. Can you bridge that financial gap that comes with that, you know, from your pocket? Let's talk about college planning. Guys, one thing I'm going to tell you that financial transactions in the United States are related to a tax code, whether you are aware or not. For saving money for college, say use 529. Right? Before they'll say little CA 529, which means California 529. And that little print CA, most parents don't even see it. Then your child gets to 18, say, Mom, Dad, I want to go to Yale University. They say, oh no, you can't use the money, it was designed for California. You say, what? You can't go. It was in-state. Right? And all of that. Plus, what if your child has scholarship though? What about that money that you told Uncle Sammy was only designed for college? What if your child said, Dad, Mom, school is not my thing. Bye-bye, I'm not going. What do you do with that money? You start taking penalties and negotiating. Right? You apply for federal aid. Guys, federal aid is tax. It's your tax money that is set aside for underprivileged children. And most of us apply, they say decline. Why? Your parent made too much money because you make 100,000. That's not true. You don't even know the formula to apply. How come the wealthy still take the money and give it to their own children? Because we don't know the formula. You want to teach parents, what is the formula for the application for federal aid that all of us have to apply, that we deserve to get? Because we don't structure our finances rightly, we're exposed, and so everything declines. And then you hear some of them come on TV and say, you know, right, my assistant pays more taxes than I do. Let's talk a little bit about that. Guys, we go all the way to living wills and trusts. Listen to me. Almost everything that you have belongs to the state in a way, and you have no idea. And I want you to know that if someone passes on and they didn't put their finances in order, even their spouse cannot take money from their ATM. Do you guys know that? Do you guys know that? When they give birth, they register you at the birth registry, correct? When you die, they put your information in the death registry called the coroner's office. Once that information goes, there's just a matter of, you know, hours. You stick that card in the ATM, it says, you know, not valid. And the only thing you'll be thinking is that maybe the pin is wrong. No, it's the right pin. It's not valid because everything is gone. It goes through probate. And it takes 6 months before they even open that chart for probate. So we want to make sure that you don't go through that. You can avoid all of that. The only reason why we don't know that is that we are not exposed. You can avoid all of that. I was sitting with a lady who has 1 child. I said, where's your baby? Oh, she's in New York in school. I said, something happened in school right now, and your baby could not talk. Who talks on her behalf? Of course, me, the mama. I said, do you have it in writing? You can't talk. She's an adult. You can't speak on her behalf. Guys, you can't live in this country and don't let this country live through you. Put everything in writing. We help you do that. The good news is that we don't charge. The company says no family left behind. Make sense? Let me narrow into specific what concerns you. So when we teach all this stuff, what we do is that what? We link you guys with the companies on the right. So we serve as a liaison, right? We're not a non-captive agency. We have 77 different A-rated companies on our shelf. We link you with those companies. Then they manage all that accounts for you through the years. We come back, we do annual reviews, we do reallocations because you stay our client, but they manage that for you, right? So what is it for you? We want to start with what concerns you. There are 3 major things that can cause financial chaos in your family. Number 1, guys, listen to this. It doesn't matter what you do for work. The skills that you acquired are non-transferable. Your certifications are non-transferable, correct? And which therefore means that you need those skills to render the services that you render to get a paycheck, correct? In the US, the system is designed so that your skills and your income are merged. Are you with me? Now, God forbid, what if there's a medical condition that messes up with that skill? It's a car accident and you can't go back to work tomorrow. What happened to that income? Gone. So a proper financial education starts with that level 1. We need to separate your income from your skills. That way the skills should go down, the income should not be compromised. That's a wow factor.
Wow.
Yes, I expect to hear wow. Has anyone ever sat down with you and asked you, how can I separate your skills from your income? Folks, you need it. That's the first thing. So the question is, what is your income protection strategy? What exactly do you have in place that guarantees that if a medical condition, a devastating medical condition comes, your income should not be compromised? Because again, I'm coming from a hospice standpoint. Most people do not die of the disease process. Their death is hurried up because of the financial stress that comes with the disease process, where you can't work anymore. You guys get it? So, one of the things we do, number 1, there are 3 things, 3 major things that can cause financial chaos. Number 1 is sickness. Number 2 is, a sudden death and the problem of outliving your money at retirement. We're going to talk about that. Look at the American statistics. The American Heart Association say 1 out of 3 is going to get cancer at one moment. It's scary. 1 out of 4 will experience a stroke every 40 seconds. 1 out of 5 is going to have some kind of heart attack every 60 seconds. I used to be an ER nurse before I went to oncology and hospice. Mondays are frequent flyer. We call them frequent flyer. Like, we get ready. They go to work, boom, they end up in the ER. Stroke, heart attack. Maybe they had a little bit of, happiness over the weekend like this. And they come back to work on Monday, there's too much stress, they end up in the ER. Did they get up in the morning planning to end up in the ER? What happens to the income thereafter? Right? So the first thing we sit down is that, hey, let's put a strategy to separate your income from your skills. That way, if the skills should be compromised, the income shouldn't. Make sense? And the strategy we use is a product called Term Life with Living Benefit. Guys, listen to me. A layman definition of insurance is the transfer of risk. The risk that I might not be able to work, I'll transfer it to insurance company. You have cars and your cars are insured, correct? The only reason why you insure your car, sir, is that if your car gets into a ditch, you expect the insurance company to restore that car to its full value, correct? What do you have that if you can't work, your income is going to come home? It's an insurance product called Term with Living Benefit. Nickels and dime can have your $1 million policy. You have 3 categories: critical illness, heart attack, stroke, cancer, ALS, any major organ transplant, end-stage renal failure, blindness due to diabetes, or you get hit by a car, 2 or more limbs paralyzed. Guess what? Your income is going to come as if you had worked. Because 90% of whatever you have is going to come alive. With the financial knowledge that we have, we structure it such that you don't lose the principal and you live on the interest. If we cannot make it all of it, we subsidize your income. Better than 0. Chronic illness, short of every 2 activity, any 2 activity of daily living, right? You can't feed yourself, you can't bathe yourself, you can't dress up, all of those things. You have lose bladder control. That will pay you 24% annually. So if I have $1 million policy, it will pay you $240,000 every single year. And I bet you, some of you, it doesn't matter whether you're in medical field or not, you know someone that has had a stroke, you know someone that got into an accident, you know someone that had a major organ transplant, you know, correct? Well, if they say that it's terminal illness, which in this case is 12 months or less, they give you the check 100%. Some people have a bucket list. Whatever you want to do, you can go do it with it. Make sense? So, second thing is what? Guys, I don't have it written. The second thing is that what? If you were to pass on today, do you want to leave your family a legacy or liability? A legacy. Guys, listen. I want to talk to you about how do you calculate that. Listen to me. This is going to require some kind of writing, but I'm not going to write. I want you to calculate what we call the human economic value, the HEV, the human economic value. What is your contribution in your household as you work? And I'm going to take a typical example. If you are 40 years, let's say 45 years old, you make 100,000 on a job. The expectation is that you're going to work for the next 20 years, correct? It means that the 100,000 you make a year times 20 years you have to work, your human economy, your economic contribution to your household is $2 million. Am I making sense? From 45 to 65. But can we guarantee that you're going to work tomorrow, next week, next year? Listen, of course, when you die, the emotional distress is going to be there. But what if we fix the financial distress, though? Some of you leave your spouses at home to stay as stay-home mom, which is a noble thing to do. You forget that you only being the breadwinner, if something happens to you, that like everything. And I want you to close your eyes for one moment and picture that and have that financial picture. All of us are going to come around, oh my God, yeah, go for me. Only 1 week, go for me, the money is gone. But if we calculate that human economic value, we can create what they call an instant estate right now and dump that money in your retirement account. Wow. Can I hear wow? Folks, this is real. The wealthy don't live the way we live. With education, they sit and say, what is my human economic contribution? What is my contribution, as a laborer in my household? They calculate their age to retirement, their annual income multiplied, that's it. Guess what? They create an instant estate and they put that money in their retirement account that same day. If you don't make it to retirement, guess what? When you die, your family can have that money. The kids can go to school. They can put a roof over their head. You see, you get what I'm saying? Now, let's fix the last problem. The three-legged stool style of retirement is no longer in existence. You will used to work, retire, pension will take care of you. Pension is gone. Companies realize pension is too expensive. In the 70s, pension is gone. 1 or 2 companies may offer, but who says they're not still going to file bankruptcy? They were now left with Social Security and our personal savings. Social Security is wobbly. They say we might not even get it. Some people don't know why. So when Social Security was created, 43 people in active service worked to help someone, for 1 person at retirement, to get Social Security. Now, 3 people are working for 1. I don't know whether you guys understand. Some of you think that the money you're putting in Social Security is what they're waiting to give you. No. They take it and give it to people who have already retired. So you may not have it, which therefore means that you only rely on your personal savings. How much are you saving? Let me give you the bad news. You cannot save to retire, period. How do you get to retirement? You finance your retirement. You cannot save money to retire. So what do? You finance your retirement. If we were to buy our homes cash, how many of us will have homes in the United States? Good. That's why you cannot retire trying to save. You guys get it? And I can prove to you beyond reasonable doubt, you will not be able. So the best way to get a decent retirement is you finance your retirement. So that estate that we created, that human economic value that we created, saying that, hey, if you die too soon, that money goes to your family. What if you don't die? What if you turn 65? Aha. Listen, every single penny that you had put in there, financing that plan, plus whatever that human economic value is, that $2 million will be added to it, and all that money is yours at retirement. Can I hear wow? That's how these people can afford for this retirement homes. They pay us private nurses, they do all of that. They have unlimited amount of money to live on. They still leave a huge legacy because they have financed their retirement, then and so they have more money. You guys get me? We put 18, 19, 20,000 in a 401k, 403b, all of these tax codes, TSP, all of those tax codes. But guess what? You're capped at that level. What does that money do? It stays here. It waits for the stock market, right? It's the volatility. For the market to do well for you to make money or lose money.
if you die after putting 18,000 in a 401k 2 years after, can that pay the mortgage? Can that send the kids to college? But what if you take the same money and, create an instant? So that's what we say. We don't come to you to create new money. We reallocate the same money to give a different value. You guys get it? It's not the amount of money you make, it's how you do with what you make that makes the difference. And so, human instant estate is what you use to resolve the issue of premature death, and the retirement is that one. The instant estate, when not used because you didn't die, is switched at base, it becomes yours to live on a retirement. 3 things that can cause financial devastation, we fix all of that at no charge for you. Make sense? All right, guys, one thing that I didn't tell you from the beginning is that, when we do this, I have a couple of checks put here, and I left the names. The names of these individuals are right there. We didn't even delete the names. Of course, we took out the address. These people bought them with living benefit. This young man, Jason, bought 2 policies. One, he was paying $35 on one. One, he was paying $100 because it was supposed to be, setting his estate. Jason is 34, not married, no children. Right? Why will he buy life insurance? Right? Because it's a financial tool with education. He bought this policy. Little did he know, 7 months after Jason was diagnosed with cancer. Worst case scenario, say stage 4. But even worse, they say, Jason, you have 3 weeks to live. They send him to hospice. Now, one thing you need to know, though, that when medically they've said aggressive treatment is no longer the case, your health insurance will not pay for aggressive treatment. Do you guys know that? The health insurance that you have will pay for aggressive treatment based on what the doctors are recommending. If they said you're no longer eligible for aggressive treatment, they will not pay. You're a hospice product. But guess what? Jason triggered this policy, means that he took the money out of the policies alive and decided that, it's not over until it's over. Because the only man that says it's over is the man upstairs. You guys get it? He went for aggressive treatment. The good news as I'm speaking to you guys that these checks were paid in August 9 of 2017. The guy that they say have 3 weeks, he's alive today.
Wow.
Because he had some money, folks. Money is not everything, but it gives us options. It gives us options, Pastor. If this gentleman did not have this money, what were his options? Guys, cash value life insurance is the product that we use for instant estate. Let me show you simply. Let me say that, number one, is the biggest tax shelter vehicle in the United States. Every money transaction you use has a tax code, right? And most people say, Levi, if this is so good, how come people don't know about this tax code? Listen to me very well. If you talk about this tax code without a license, it's a criminal offense. I don't know who is in this room. You guys get it? The government is losing so much money on it. It's a tax loophole for the government. It's tax advantage for a citizen. You must be thinking, how come they don't close it? Some people know it, they're using it. Are you guys with me? So when somebody says, well, my assistant pay more taxes than I do, it's true. They know tax codes you don't know. And most of us rely on our CPAs for tax, for financial advice. With all due respect, if you're a CPA in the room, that's not what they're licensed to do. CPAs are licensed to collect commensurately to your earnings and, to what your tax brackets are. We teach financial education. I will put a lot of money in your pocket. That's why I work with a lot of CPAs. Because some of them feel guilty when we sit down. For real. And they come in business with me. So we want to make sure you understand how this works. Consider a scenario like this where you put in your retirement. Let's say that over the years of contribution, you put in $300,000 in your insurance policy, right? Over the years, whatever you put in. And now you retire. They give you, because you did that, they give you back that money 100% core return of premium. All of it 100%. But then they give you an additional $500,000 as interest earned during those years, and that interest that was given to you completely tax-free. Plus then you die, they give your family an additional $1 million, and that $1 million is given again tax-free as a death benefit. If this scenario that I just showed right here was a written contract, will you sign?
Of course.
Some people didn't hear it. If this scenario was a written contract, will you sign? I'll sign it every day, twice on weekends. You guys know why? At the end of the day, this is what these people do. 100% of the money they put in, they've had it back. They have a ton of interest, and they still were able to leave a legacy.
Wow.
You guys get it? Typical example of how cash value life insurance works. Most people have no idea. Now, when I say this, you're going to run to State Farm, Allstate. Oh, I want this, and they're going to give you whole life. That's not what I'm talking about. Make sense? That's not what I'm talking about. But guys, this is how it operates. I'm going to jump here. If you don't do it, the banks are going to do it for you. The money that you put in the bank, have you ever questioned what they do with the money? They say checking account, you can come and get the money, put in 10,000, you come, they say you are giving us a notice. Because the money doesn't sit there. Do you think they put a ribbon on it and put in a safe and say, this is Mrs. or Mr. Money waiting for you? No. It goes out the next day. And I want to show you, are you familiar with any of these banks? Yeah? Some of you bank with them. Right? Ask me, if insurance was supposed to be dying, when is Bank of America dying? They have 19.67. Guy, it's not million, it's billion. 19.6 billion in insurance. Because they're chasing the same tax code that we're talking about. I said, and I wanted to imagine a 10% return on that money, and they don't have to declare taxes on that.
Wow.
Right? If Bank of America get out of business today, for any reason, they can open Bank of Lancaster with that 19.7 billion. Because they will not touch it. Even bankruptcy cannot touch it. It's not politics, but our former president filed bankruptcy so many times. You wonder, bankruptcy, what does bankruptcy mean? I'm broke, give me another chance to start all over. Is he that broke?
No way.
How come he filed so many times? Because he has a tax code that he can shelter his money, and it's legit. That's why no matter what we say, nobody could do it. You guys get it? You don't have to do it the wrong way. I'm talking to you about the strength of a tax code. This page is an excerpt of that book. Look at what it says. Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. The caption, some of you might not see at the back, it says, how the wealthy use life insurance as a tax-free personal bank. It didn't say to that. It said to supercharge their savings. This is not one of those cases where ignorance is bliss, folks. I want you to know, you don't do it, someone is going to do it. So what the banks use is called BOLI, B-O-L-R, bank-owned life insurance. So you can do it, or you can let them do it, and they don't give you. Some of us want to talk to bankers because they have the smartest minds in money to try to know what to do. But the bankers are taking the money and doing exactly this. I will sitting you right here and tell you that ordinary people can only use an internal revenue tax code to bypass the banks and do exactly what the banks do with the money and get the high returns that they get on the money. Because banks give you miserable returns. Correct? Typical example. I met with this young lady who works at Howard University Hospital. She is already maxing her 401k, 18,000 as a 35 years old. That is financial discipline. And I said, this 18,000, how much will you get at retirement? I don't know. Is anyone saving here that they ask you how much you get at retirement? You don't know? Yeah? 401k, 43b, stocks, mutual funds. You don't know. And you can't know. You know why? By US government regulation, AG 49, you cannot show me where you're going to go financially if you don't have a flaw in finances. I'm going to repeat that. The fact that you can make money and lose money, that volatility by law, they cannot show you where you're going to be. You cannot, because it's a law. You guys get it? You cannot possibly tell me when you're going to reach a destination where you cannot tell me where the start point is. That's why most people end up on the wrong side of the financial track. However, using insurance-based retirement plan, because there is a base, which is the floor is zero, you can never lose money, you can make those projections. We can give you worst case scenario. This young lady was saying, hey, I work hard, live, why can I not get 100,000 retirement? I said, okay, let's reroute the 18,000 into an insurance base and show you how you get 100,000 retirement. Folks, right here, because she did 18,000, the first thing, my laser doesn't go on the screen. The first thing is that what? She created an instant estate where the very first column that says specified amount, she created an instant estate of $2,041,000. The same money she puts in a 401k, she changed the tax code, put it in an insurance-based retirement plan. There is an instant $2,041,000. If she were to pass on any time, her 2 children and her husband will have $2,041,000. Could they pay the roof over the kids' head? Can they go to school, right? It's only 2 income when both of you are working and alive. If one person dies and have children, it's 0 income. It's not 1 income. Because the other person take care of the children. Make sense? But this young lady did now. Look at what happened here. Over the year, she just did the same thing. She didn't change. She just continued to put it over the year religiously to, 18,000 every single month, non-stop, all the way to retirement. Guys, listen. She did this all the way to age 65, right? Guys, now the internet is a little bit slow. At age 65, she stopped contributing, 0, 0, 0, 0 for the rest of her life. At the time when she stopped contributing, she was 65 years old. Multiply 18 by 30 years, total amount she's putting is 540,000. What did she say she wanted at retirement? 100,000 a year, correct? The first is that the first 5 years, she take all her money back. You can see that. Return of premium, say withdrawal. Every year, except that there's a $25 service charge where you make withdrawals. 5 years after, she's pulled out 100% of the money, and then they switch at base. She starts to take what they call policy loans, 100,000 every year. At age 80, she's pulled out $1.5 million from that plan. Guess how much is left? 2.549 million, right? 2.54 million is still sitting in that account after she's taken 1.5 million tax-free. There is still 2.45 million sitting in there. She can continue to take that 100,000 to age 100. She could have decided to change and have 150 or 200,000 right at retirement from that plan. She will not outlive her money. Can I hear wow? Folks, education is everything. She did the same 18,000 that you could have put in your 401k and it's not predictable. You know how you take your 401k is under the regulation that, ED penalty says what? If you're below 59 and a half, you take it, you get the early distribution penalty, correct? They penalize you, then they report the money at the end of the year for taxes again. It raises your tax bracket, right? She takes the money anytime, twice over the weekend, no penalties. There's no age requirement. If the market crashes, she can pull this money and buy multiple property. You would have lost the money in your 401k when the market crashed. A deal is only a deal if you can afford. Make sense? So the index strategy protects that money. Each time the market crashes, you don't lose a penny. Because when you lose money, you breach the compound effect. How do you expect to get there? You breach the compound effect. And so the index strategy says you never lose a penny due to market decline. We're looking at somebody like Warren Buffett, who is the epidemic in investing in the United States. He says, well, there are only 2 rules of money. Rule number 1,
Don't lose money.
never lose money. Rule number 2,
Don't forget rule number one.
don't forget rule number 1. If he's the best investor, I say don't lose money. Yeah, you're losing money every day in your 401k. What are you thinking? Where are you heading to? The good news is that the index strategy allows you. Now, you must be thinking in your mind, oh, if I don't have 18,000 to do. Some people are doing 200,000 a year. Some people are doing $100. I just show you Jason as a young guy who decided that, I'm going to start and I start putting $100 away. Guys, saving is not the amount of money you have, it's how disciplined you are. I want to sit down with you and teach you the discipline to put nickels and dime away and allow money to do what it would naturally do. It's called TFM, time factor of money. That's it. Money will normally compound over time if you give it time. However, if you have the possibility of losing, don't be surprised. You're never going to get where you want to go financially. I wanted to show you guys an illustration to show that this is a case signed and sealed and it's available. And this is what they call worst case scenario. Worst case scenario. Would it be okay for you to exchange $18,000 for $100,000 a year, tax free, and still leave $2.something million for retirement? It's a rhetorical question. Guys, last thing that we do is that what money only grows in one of 3 ways. Fixed, they give you a specific return, traditionally 2%. Now, what is wrong with 2%? Inflation is slightly greater than 2%. Inflation is just the ability of your money for the purchasing. 20 years ago, a gallon of gas was 99 cents, correct? Most places. If you had that 99 cents in your wallet and you take it to a gas station today, can it still give you a gallon of gas? What happened with your precious 99 cents? Inflation messes up with the value of money over time. So if they keep crediting you 2%, but inflation is 2.8, you're safely losing money over time. Most people jump into the variable strategy. With the variable strategy, you can make money and you could lose money, right? You can make money and you could lose money. And the index strategy say what? You grow and protect. You grow, the market crash, you keep all of it. When markets start going up, you participate. The market crash, you keep all of it. So when we meet with individuals that have accumulated money in variable strategy, which is typically our first line of savings, we do what they call rollover. Simply move the money, no taxes, no penalties, no fees. I'm going to say the rollover, no taxes, no penalties, no fees. Move it as it is, protect that account from market volatility. Hey guys, listen, Pastor was saying that it's a great business opportunity. You must be thinking, where is the business, Levi? We teach people this basic concept. This is what I do. I showed you 3 simple things that can avoid financial chaos in your family. But we're a full-fledged financial firm. We do anything, everything from setting up college plans to children, educating you on how to refinance, everything, full-fledged. 90% of the time, people refinance their house, take the money, the appraisal value, put it down on a new house to reduce the principal, correct? Is that so? You've never refinanced? Don't people refinance a house? They take the appraisal value of the house, they put it down as a down payment on a new house in order to reduce the principal, right? That's what they call street thinking, because you just gave away $100,000 that you will never earn interest on it ever, right? And most people want to avoid financial charges. What do they do? Oh, I've just bought it cash. I just bought my car cash. I don't want to be paying car note. You just gave away the right to earn interest on that money, correct? What if you can have both? Or what if you can know that you can use that same money that you were supposed to put down for a down payment and the interest pay for the new mortgage for the rest of your life? You see why they say people with traditional education are going to end up working for people with financial education? Yeah? So, guys, because of this education that we provide, listen. I was telling Pastor that my role coming here is that 1 or 2 people, 5 people here can understand this information and join me in the crusade of financial illiteracy. I just touched the tip of an iceberg, which is teaching you how to create a financial foundation. After you create a solid financial foundation, set up a trust, we structure all your stuff, we can talk about other stuff. We can talk about mutual funds. We can talk about a lot of stuff. But we needed to create that financial foundation. And one of the things that I benefited from day one, starting with this company, is the fact that, we changed our own finances completely. Then I realized, oh my goodness, it's a very, very lucrative industry as well. So from the business standpoint, what is it? If this message, this information makes sense to you, guys, my invitation is to take a look and be in business with us. But the last thing that I want to tie here is that, you remember my first thing? My first thing I said, all right. The first thing that I want to share with you guys, when I started, I said, I needed to build, to sponsor children, and I was having a hard time. Our goal is to promote 50 people making $1 million on a massive passive basis. 50 people. When we do that, we will divide those 50 people into 5 groups of 10. And those 5 groups of 10, like I asked everyone, if you're blessed making $1 million on a massive basis, meaning that you don't have to be there to make that million, can you give away $25,000 to help some underprivileged community? This is my biggest goal, guys. If we do 10 people putting $25,000 a month, that's $250,000. You pick any community of your choice. Any community of your choice. Provide potable water. Maybe your pharmacist, you want to just put basic medication in local pharmacy for these senior citizens to take. Maybe it's build a bridge, build a church in your community. Sponsor underprivileged children. Be, homeless shelter. Whatever your heart desires are, we give you $250,000 every month to get that done, every year.
What do they call it now?
And there are 5 groups doing it simultaneously. 90% of the time, we raise money here, we go back home, we're going to put water, we're going to connect water to this clinic. Nobody goes back, the pipes get broken, they get clogged, there's no water. No, that's not going to happen. Why? We'll have an engineer in place because we have an extra $500,000 in each group set aside. There are 12 contributions in a year, there are 10 projects. Make sense? Because we want that to continue to flow. They're going to be writing this. Magazines are going to be writing this. Do you want to read this in a magazine or you want to be part of it?
That's nice. That's nice.
I agree. For the few that have accepted I want to be guys, I want to show you guys this little part. Just to say that, you know.
Oh, that's nice. When you get there, just give me a call. I'm still in church.
So I'm just going to round up here to say that, guys,
Giving out about 250 turkeys.
for a few people that have started with us,
So,
But I'm so glad that you called me, and
let me check this.
I really feel the prayers, and I really appreciate it.
I'm happy. I'm happy too. I'm happy too. I'm happy that you are up and about. Yeah. You don't have to stay in one place. Okay? You don't have to stay in one place. It is well, eh? It is well. So call me about that time when you are with Pat. Let me see where I am. Okay? God bless you. All right, yeah, bye. Bye. Hello, Mama. How are you?
I'm doing well.
God bless you.
Beautiful.
I didn't want to hold
I am
it,
the one.
and our coach and mentor is here, wanted to help as many people. So we're going to close the service at this point.
Oh.
Those of you who have the time because you can stay to receive more about this presentation, you can wait. And the rest who have to go to work, we want to make sure that we get it to work. We don't want a situation, but don't listen to this.